I love Disney Channel movies, and now that Zombies 3 is finally out, I wanted to take a look at Disney Channel's biggest and best musical franchises to see which one is the best. Why is Camp Rock not here? Shut up. We're not talking about Camp Rock today. Our four big contenders: High School Musical, Teen Beach Movie, Descendants. I tried to draw devil horns on it because I thought that would be funny, but it looks weird. And Zombies. Let's get started. I want to approach this as being as not biased as possible because I know one of these franchises is maybe more iconic than the other three, especially for people around my age range. But I just want to tell you that I've kind of liked Disney Channel my whole life. And I watched it into high school, maybe sort of a post-ironic kind of funny way, but I also just enjoy all 11 of these movies for different reasons. Here are a list of all the years these movies were released, and I was born in 2002, so that should give you sort of a range of when I was a kid, when I was entering teenagehood, and now as a 20-year-old I'm watching Zombies 3. So I've enjoyed these movies my whole life. I never was specifically like a High School Musical kid growing up in elementary school. I was invited to a High School Musical themed birthday party, and I was the only boy there, so I thought it was girly, and I didn't really watch any of the franchise until really later on in life. And I could not tell you when the first time it was when I actually watched High School Musical or Descendants or anything like that. I just don't remember. But what I do remember is I've only seen 3 of these movies, I think, opening night when they premiered on Disney Channel or Disney Plus. Those being Teen Beach 2, Zombies, and Zombies 3. Those are the only 3 that I can remember that I actually put in the effort to watch opening night. That being said, I don't think I'm too biased about any of these 4, so let's jump right into it. I'm breaking this down into 6 different categories. We have story. That's just the overall plot. What is the story of these movies, and if it's good in the way they're telling that story. Romance. All of these 4 franchises center around a central romance between 2 characters. How good are these characters together? What's their chemistry? Are they compatible? Do they make a good couple? So yeah, that's the romance. We got villain. That's pretty explanatory. How good is the movie's villain? The ensemble. That's basically all the other characters besides the 2 romantic interests and the villain. How good are the side characters? We got songs. Also pretty self-explanatory. How good the songs are. The dancing. How good the dancing is. And then how I plan to rate them is 4th place through 1st place. 4th place will get 1 point, 3rd place 2 points, 2nd place 3 points, and 1st place 4 points. And then we'll total them up at the end. Let's get started. Inefficient way to move the story along. First up is story, and I want to address the elephant in the room here. Teen Beach Movie only has 2 movies, while the rest are a trilogy. Well, let's break down some numbers, shall we? These are the official runtimes according to Disney Plus of all 4 franchises. As you can see, Zombies is actually the one that kind of gets shafted here because it has the same amount of movies as High School Musical and Descendants, even though it is a full hour less total runtime than those 2. And Descendants is only 2 minutes longer in totality than High School Musical, which I thought was really interesting because, well, these 2 franchises probably made the most money, so they had the bigger budget, so they could afford to make 2-hour-long movies. Zombies probably didn't have as big of a budget and not many people watching, so they gave it less money, and when you have less money, that's better put to a shorter film. And, of course, Teen Beach Movie really gets the short end of the stick here, but I'm not judging it by how big and grand everything is and how good it tells a story over a trilogy. I'm just saying I'm judging it on how well the story is told, no matter what the length and runtime is. And yeah, it is unfair to Zombies that it gets a shorter amount of time to tell their story. Zombies 2 is not even an hour and a half long, and so it does feel rushed for that reason. Maybe it's that reason was out of its control, but hey, it's what we got. We're gonna judge it based on the story and how well it tells its specific story in its allotted amount of time. That being said, Zombies is last in the story category, not because it is short, but because the whole race allegory never really lines up the way it wants to line up. The second and the third movie are basically the same exact plot. These outsiders come to Seabrook. Allison thinks she's one of the outsiders, and then she's not a werewolf, but then she discovers it's the plot gets repeated twice. And the first one is decent. It teaches kids don't be mean to each other, but that's about it. And there's not much substance to any of these. And what really makes these movies fun are the performances from the actors and how charismatic they can be. And all the actors keep me coming back, but for the story itself, it's got to be last place. In third place for story, we have Descendants. Not to say that the Descendants movies are bad, sort of, it's just that the other two are better. So that puts it in third place. And I was debating with the idea that, yes, the Descendants are based on a pre-existing book, and I don't know if I should, how much credit to give the movie when the book already laid everything out for them, and plus they're kind of banking on pre-existing characters for your investment, especially the first one when they show all the parents and people you know. And the third movie can be kind of all over the place, juggling all these different characters, and for that reason, it's just got to be third place. Yeah, that's how I write my twos. What are you gonna do about it? I think the first Teen Beach movie is extremely solid and extremely strong and pretty much better than most Disney Channel original movies, as it doesn't really follow the formula all of these other movies follow, such as we start with a pre-existing relationship, and we'll get to that point in the love category, and we follow this relationship as it kind of gets rocky and things happen, and there's no real villain. It's just that the conflict comes from the interpersonal relationships between Mac and Brady and Layla and Tanner, creating this sort of investment where you don't really need a mustache twirling villain, even though one is there anyway, which is the weakest part of the movie, but we'll get that in the villains category, okay? And overall, it's extremely solid, and the second movie is kind of where the ball drops a little bit, to where, is the second movie really necessary? Do we need to see the movie characters come into the real world? Not really, but it does do a good job of expanding Mac and Brady's relationship, and I know a lot of people will disagree with me on this, but after time, after maturing, the ending of the second one is good. Like, I know it's sad and you don't get what you want, but that's the point. And we'll get to that more in the relationship category, but that's a good ending, okay? And it subverses all your expectations when all these other things, all these other movies, they have happy endings. But Teen Beach 2, it dares to not have a happy ending, okay? And that's why it gets second place. All right, and of course that leaves High School Musical winning for the story category. I know the first movie is a little basic, a little bland, a jock learning that he can do theater and falling in love with a girl who's smart and learning that she can also do theater. But then you get to the second one, and I genuinely think High School Musical 2 is the best movie out of all 11 movies here, and it's very solid rom-com, I guess you would call it. It's a solid comedy. Sharpay is better than ever in the second one, and everything just comes together with all the characters being really nice and balanced in a way that is very satisfying, and the second one really elevates the first one. And then we go into the third one, which is the best third movie out of the three trilogies we have here. It really wraps up everything nicely, even though it might be a little surface level. It gives the people watching exactly what they want, and all three of these movies are extremely solid. Not one of them really drops the ball. I'd say the worst one is probably High School Musical 1, but it was successful enough that we got really good other two movies out of it. So for that reason, High School Musical wins the story category. At least I'm here with you. For romance, in last place, we have Descendants. Mal and Ben, that's the weirdest. Okay, I have a lot to say about this. Okay? Their relationship starts with Ben dating someone else, and then Mal drugging him into liking her, him falling in love with her based on the spell she non-consensually put on him, and then once he breaks out of the spell, he's like, I like you anyway, I'll stick around. And then it's like, okay, that's a little weird. And then in the second movie, she straight up tries to like gaslight him magically into forgetting that she is faking everything, like trying to literally magically gaslight him into him thinking that she's perfect, which is really not okay.
And I was giving you props for fitting in so well, for doing your best.
Take back this moment that has passed, return it, reverse it.
Are you trying to spell me right now?
And then she ends up running away, just leaving him a note saying, I've gone, like, bye. It's very sweet of him to go after her to the Isle of the Lost so they can get back together, but then they don't have a song. They don't have like a breakup song. They don't have an emotional song. Mal and Ben are the only couple out of these four that don't have a breakup song. But then I thought about it a little more. Mal and Ben are the only couple not to have a song, period. They do not sing a duet, ever. Yeah, they sing together the first verse of a finale song, and then by the time it's the chorus, they're like, come on, everybody, join in. But they don't have a traditional duet, ever. Okay, and I know what you're thinking. Mac and Brady don't have a song. Meant to be reprised too. It's only 30 seconds long, but it's a song. That's more than Mal and Ben have, and guess what? Mac and Brady also sing Silver Screen together. That's not a romantic song, but at least it's a song together. Instead, who does Mal sing about growing apart from? Evie. You know why? Sophia Carson sells better. That's probably why, I'm guessing. Because kids will pay for a song sung by Dove Cameron and Sophia Carson, and so Ben never just gets a song. Did I mention is a great song. It's a great love song, but he's unconsensually drugged singing that. And so he doesn't mean it. Okay, and so Mal sings about her feelings with Evie instead of Ben. And then in the third movie, they're basically kind of apart doing their own side mission the whole time. But I will say, to their credit, they are the only couple out of these four to canonically get married. So congratulations, but you're still in fourth place. In third place for the romance, we have Troy and Gabriella from High School Musical. Their meet cute is fine. It's just right off the bat of the first movie. They're karaokeing in a ski lodge together, and then they go to the same school together, and then they just fall in love, which is fine. It's just basic, I think, more than anything else. And the first one, which is fine, it works. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. But then I have my notes over here to just so I don't get off track here. Troy and Gabriella are the only couple to break up more than once. They break up in the second movie and they break up in the third movie. In these movies, it's actually kind of hard to really determine if it's a official full-on breakup or if they're just in a fight and mad at each other and walk away. And that goes for all 11 of these movies. It's really hard to determine what's a breakup and what's not. But from what I infer, they have broken up twice. And the I Gotta Go My Own Way song, High School Musical 2, and then the straight up Gabriella's I'm Leaving song in High School Musical 3, even though they still plan on going to prom together, but then she's like, sorry, I don't want to go to prom because I'm not strong enough to see you again. and yada yada yada. Sure, it's great. Gabriella gets points for doing what's best for her mental health, but at the same time, Troy comes anyway. He's still there. He's not out of your life. He's not leaving your life, which is kind of sus on you, Troy, when Gabriella over the phone is like, I can't see you again. I'm going to be too sad. It's going to heartbreak me. And then he comes to see her again. Troy, learn some boundaries, bro. Overall, the relationship is cute, and you get some good songs out of it, love songs and breakup songs. It's pretty non-offensive. They don't do anything extremely wrong, but, the other couples here are better. So, third place, Gabriella and Troy. Next up for romance, in second place, we have Zed and Addison from Zombies. I know what you're thinking, but I grew up with High School Musical. I love Troy and Have you watched the Zombies movies? These two actors are besides are the most charismatic people on screen. You love them together. They're just very cute together, and you could tell that they, genuinely, the actors have a good relationship with each other, and it's just fun. It's just fun. And Zed and Addison have the best meet cute song with Someday. We'll get to that part later, but they have the best meet cute and meet cute song. It's awesome. But you might be asking, what puts them over Gabrielle and Troy? I love the High School Musical movies. Well, here's the thing. In High School Musical 2, Troy that's his villain arc. He pushes his friends and girlfriend away to get into college, basically. Sharpay is like, hey, if you ditch your friends, hang out with me, I'll get you into college. And Troy is like, okay, sure. And then he realizes he lost himself. That's not really who he is. And then returns back to his friends. He ignored his friends for his own benefit. He wanted to get into college, so he ignored his friends. Zed does something similar in Zombies 2, but I'll tell you the difference. In Zombies 2, werewolves show up and the monster laws go back into place, meaning zombies can't attend prom anymore, but they call it prawn because their mascot is a shrimp, and it's hilarious. Zed really wants to take Addison to prom, but he can't go because he's a zombie. So what does he do? He runs for class president. But of course, no one's going to elect a zombie as class president. So what does he do? He kind of loses himself. He whitewashes himself in the racial metaphor that they're going for. And he becomes someone he's not. And by doing that process, he ignores his friends and his girlfriend. But because he's trying to take Addison to prom, that's the reason he loses himself. Not for his own personal gain to get into college, but because he genuinely cares about Addison, and he finds this the only way that he can take Addison to prom, because he wants to go to prom so bad, because he loves Addison so bad, that he's willing to lose himself over it. Troy just wants to get to college. And then he doesn't even go to that college in the third movie. So that's why Addison and Zed are the best. Zed's and then in the third one, I was ready to mark down the point score already, but I haven't talked about the third one. In Zombies 3, they're ready to they full on he's ready to go into space with her. They were like, oh, we're gonna go to different colleges, but it's okay. But it turns out Addison is an alien, and so she has to go into space to lead the aliens to their utopia. But Zed is like, all right, I'm coming to space with you because that's how much I care about you. But then Addison's like, actually, and the aliens are like, you can't come on the spaceship, you'll die. And so now they have to break up, officially. And they have a very sweet emotional moment with both of them are crying. And then they full on break up. And it's a very emotional scene. And with the thought that maybe someday they'll meet again and their love can continue on. But for now, they're going to have to break up and be emotionally mature about it and go their own separate ways. And that's awesome.
Hey everyone, this is future me editing this, and I realize I said Troy and Gabriella were the only couple to break up more than once, but I realize now Zed and Addison actually break up in Zombies 2, and then they do it again in Zombies 3 when Addison has to go away in the spaceship. But I think the spaceship breakup was really better handled and more mature than Troy and Gabriella, so that's why I still think they're the better couple. Also, apologies because I realize I keep calling Addison Allison, and that's just me being silly, so sorry about that. Back to the video.
And then because of Disney Channel, the aliens come back and everyone's together again. But for that split moment, they were extremely emotionally, they were very emotionally mature and in their breakup, more than Troy and Gabriella could ever be. So for that reason, Zombies 3, second place. Zed and Addison, you have my heart. And of course that means Teen Beach Movie Mac and Brady is in first place. I talked a little bit about this during the story portion, but Mac and Brady already start off dating. Like, that's what separates them. We don't get to see their meet cute. They're already dating, and what is kind of agreed between them is that it's just a summer fling. Mac's gonna go away to a different school once the summer ends, but Brady's really sad about that, and maybe he wants it to be more than a summer fling, but Mac knows that's maybe not the most healthy thing to do, and that's where the conflict comes from. They don't need someone to sabotage their relationship for there to be drama. They don't need someone to sabotage them. It's just their own two people arguing, and because they have different ideologies. That's amazing conflict. That's amazing writing when you don't need a villain to separate them. They kind of separate on their own because they believe in two different things. And in Teen Beach Movie 2, I think they have the best breakup scene out of all these couples, because you genuinely believe that maybe their personalities are not meant for each other. Mac is really serious and about going to college. She takes her future very seriously. While Brady, on the other hand, just wants to go with the flow, hang out. He has his passions and he works on them, but he thinks that compared to what Mac is doing, what he's doing is pretty insignificant, and maybe that they shouldn't be together because they have two different ways of doing life, but they still love each other. And that's what leads us to the best breakup song out of all 11 movies, which is On My Own, which is just Ross Lynch. It's just Brady singing. There's no Mac involved. It's not a duet. It's a solo, and it's amazing. And it's best breakup song, period. Not even in a Disney Channel original movie, not in movie musicals, just in song in general. Best breakup song ever. So they have that going for them. And that's what brings us to the end of Teen Beach 2. When they lay their relationship on the line for the greater good. Basically, Tanner and Layla have to get home, or else Mac and Brady will never meet, and then they'll be strangers again, and it's a whole thing. But they're gonna make it, though. But what Mac tells Layla is to change the movie. Mac is sacrificing her relationship so that Layla can be happy. And I think that's awesome. That's very emotionally mature to sacrifice yourself for the greater good. And then in the end, anyway, in the final scene, we see that Brady and Mac are spitting game to each other as strangers. They're attracted. They're gonna end up together again, even though they forgot all the adventures they've been through previously. That doesn't matter. It's because they have the emotional maturity to sacrifice themselves, not just end up at a college 36 miles away, or to end up back in the same town, or get married. They're willing to go through with a full-on breakup, we will never have met each other sort of thing. And that, I think, is awesome. Good job, Mac and Brady. You get first place. Let's move to the villains. Fall from grace here. Teen Beach Movie is now last in this category. They in order to win the romance category, they have to lose the villain category. It's because there really is no villain when it comes to these movies. It is just interpersonal conflict between all the characters and the situation they're kind of in. It's the situation itself that's the problem. There's no big bad. But for no reason, really, there is a big bad in the first one who doesn't really fit in with the story at all, and is just kind of there because maybe the plot needs it to be. And Kevin Chamberlain can do no wrong, and the other guy's fine too, but they really don't need to be in the story at all. And then in Teen Beach Movie 2, there is no villain, and yeah, so for that reason, I'm sorry, Teen Beach, but you're in last place. Now, I've been going back and forth about second and third place a lot, and I think I have to use my head, and I'm gonna have to put Zombies in third place. Trust me, metaphorical racism has never been funnier with Bucky. Bucky is a shining starlight within the Zombies franchise. He's a beacon of hope for all Disney Channel movies around the world, that a villain can be this fun, this funny, whenever he's on screen, I'm smiling. Like, the actor does such a good job of playing this person, and it's Bucky, he's just so funny. Like, he's literally the, I think, funniest character out of all 11 movies. Bucky is the funniest character. He's so charismatic. What is his downfall though? Zombies 3. He's barely in it. 1 and 2, he does such a great job, but they give him nothing to do in Zombies 3. And of course, what he does sort of get repetitive about being metaphorically racist. But he's funny. He has his face is everywhere, which is already hilarious, and his name is on random objects, and then he becomes class president. He's awesome, okay? I know as like an audience member or a viewer that it's sort of easy just to go, oh, that person's playing a one-noted character, that must be so easy. But this man is giving 1010% every single time he's on screen. He is just magnetic. You cannot take his eyes off him. It is the performance more than anything else. It's also the writing. They write such good jokes for him. My favorite being, I'm not anti-change. I'm just pro keeping things the way they are.
It's not fine. There are werewolves circling us right now, waiting to attack.
Yeah, and I'm way too tasty. I'm always looking like a snack.
And what's also great about him is that he never learns his lesson. He's still racist, metaphorically racist, in all 3 movies. When you get to the 3rd movie and the song Exceptional Zed, they're singing about how great Zed is because he changed the school and like there's integration now. And then Bucky goes, whether I like it or not. What? He's still metaphorically racist after all he's been through. It's awesome that he just does not give up his stance, just like the real world. People who think like that, they don't give up their stance so easily. So I think Bucky is a kind of a good reflection for the real world. I did have Bucky in 2nd place for a really long time, but I think what it comes down to, why he's in 3rd, is just motivation. All we hear from him is that he just wants to win, even if that means being metaphorically racist, and he's just sort of self-obsessed and narcissistic, and he's just like, yeah, that's just the way he is. Oh well, and he doesn't have like any sort of goal in mind, end goal. He's just always self-obsessed. And for that reason, why his motivations are kind of vague. I want to know why he wants to win. What sort of childhood trauma created that? But no, he's just kind of there, and he's just kind of annoying. But he's just the most beautiful presence I've ever seen on a screen coming from a Disney Channel original movie. So don't get me wrong, I love Bucky, but if we're being not biased here, I'm going to have to put you in 3rd, Bucky. I love you. I know you'd love to see you as number 1. I really do. Sorry, Bucky. What does take 2nd place, though, is the Descendants franchise. What makes Descendants different from all the other franchises is that it has a different villain for each movie, and I will be going through them one by one in order from worst to best. The worst villain in the Descendants franchise is Audrey, because she kind of just shows up in the 3rd movie, and I think what would have made her like amazing and this franchise like super good is that if Audrey was actually in the 2nd movie and we could really track her villain arc, that would be awesome. But she just disappears. She's not in the 2nd movie at all, and then just shows up out of the 3rd movie out of nowhere. And it felt like the writers were like, oh, we need a villain. Oh, what about her from the 1st movie? And so if Audrey had something if Audrey had something like productive and important to do during the 2nd movie that led to really her at her breaking point in the 3rd movie, I think that would be awesome. But we did not get that, so that's why Audrey is the worst out of the Descendants villains. Above Audrey is the OG Kristen Chenoweth as Maleficent. And I do have to say, Maleficent is like a pre-existing character, but, they give her own spin, and she's Kristen Chenoweth. She has one of the best villain songs, Evil Like Me. It's good, and Kristen Chenoweth really can just do no wrong, and that's the point I'm making. First place, we have China Anne McClain as Uma. She, out of all 11 movies, probably has the best villain motivation. You really understand why she's doing what she's doing, and how, hey, life is unfair, and I'm gonna try and make things fair by doing evil things, which I think is cool. She has a good arc in the third movie where Mal is actually the bad guy because she promised her as queen or whatever, she will let the kids from the Isle of the Lost to come here to Oridon, but then she lied. She didn't mean that when she said it, making Mal the bad guy and Uma like the victim in this situation. And so I think Uma's arc in the third movie, where she's more of a morally, in the second one too, she is more of a morally gray, not good or bad. She doesn't go from, I'm a bad person, oh, I learned a lesson, I'm a good person, and she's just morally gray the whole time. And in the second movie, you know what she wants, she has the means of getting what she wants, and she goes for it. And you can't really blame her. Like, if you were in her situation, like, you'd want the same thing. And so that's why if you take all these three villains, add them together, you get the second place spot. So, good job, Descendants. We all knew this was coming, okay? If any sort of bias or like, oh, nostalgia plays in here, yeah, it's right here. This is where nostalgia plays in. Sharpay is just iconic. She's amazing. Ashley Tisdale gives an amazing, over-the-top, exaggerated performance. I know what you're thinking, though. There's so many videos that exist that's like, oh, Sharpay's actually not the villain. She's the victim. Oh, Hollywood villainizes ultra-femininity. We're not talking about that today, okay? A very interesting topic, but we're not talking about that. Narratively, she is the antagonist. Troy's the protagonist, and the antagonist stops them from getting what they want, and that's what Sharpay does. So narratively speaking, she's an antagonist. In other words, the villain, okay, of Troy's story. Like Bucky, she is a big narcissist. She does things for herself, screwing over everyone else in the process. But I think what kind of separates her from Bucky is that it's ever so slightly more understandable, because like if you're at the top of the drama program and then these two nobodies come in, you'd get a little thrown off your game. Yeah, that's better than just being metaphorically racist. So she has some understandability there. And what's also great is that she never gets really redeemed. They just introduce a person that's more evil than her, and then she decides to be mean to the person who is mean to her instead of being mean to like everyone else. And we're not counting Sharpay's Big Adventure. I watched that years and years and years ago. I'm sure she has some redemption arc in that movie where she learns to be a good person. We're not talking about Sharpay's Big Adventure. We're talking about High School Musical 1 through 3. And at the end of 3, she didn't really learn her lesson. She just goes to U of A and sticks around to assist the drama program and then make the British girl's life terrible. So good for her. Really, that's all I have to say about Sharpay. Is good for her. But also, worth mentioning, she has the best villain song. Did I say someone else? Oh, I said Maleficent has a good villain song, but Sharpay has the best villain song with Fabulous. And then she also has a really great song, I Want It All, in High School Musical 3. That's all. Congratulations, Sharpay. Next is the ensemble. That's basically any character who's not in the lead romantic duo or the villain. So excluding those three people, every other character is on the board. It goes for all 4 franchises that the writers really don't know what to do with these characters, because when they don't know what to do with these characters, they just give them a love interest. So in last place, we have zombies. Now, I feel bad because I wish I could hype up zombies more, but they're really not doing themselves any favors. I'm just going to go through a list of a few characters and really explain why this is last place. Starting with Eliza. She, to me, is very clearly a Hamilton ripoff, because I think Disney just saw Hamilton's success and is like, oh, kids like hip-hop now, so let's make a hip-hop musical. They were already leaning into like the hip-hop aspect in Descendants, but they just went 1 billion% into zombies with the hip-hop stuff. And so within the first line of Eliza speaking, like the first verse she gets, this is the first time we ever see her on screen. She says the phrase "rise up" and "revolution," and her name is Eliza. That's just very clearly Hamilton. And then throughout the entire first movie, she keeps talking about, we need a revolution, we need a revolution. Did I mention we need a revolution? And it all on, like, her character sounds like it was written by a conservative, and you told them, hey, write what a green-haired, triggered SJW feminist sounds like. And the conservative's like, okay. And then he types up some parody that's really offensive, and then that's Eliza. Her activism is, she talks about activism so much, and that's their only personality trait, that it seems like it's borderline parody, and they're making fun of activism, which kind of sucks, because activist characters are cool, but they really did not write Eliza well. And plus, in the third movie, yes, there's a lot to say about Eliza. In the third movie, she's not even in it because the actor at the time was pregnant, and so, like, noticeably pregnant. So she had to film all of her scenes, like, behind a desk, and then their excuse was, oh, her character's at an internship, and she is, like, FaceTiming everyone through a robot. And which sucks, because I'm sure that actor and all the actors in the Zombies franchise were hired primarily for their dancing skills, because it is such a dance-heavy, like, movie. And now she doesn't even get to dance in the third movie because she's pregnant. So that kind of sucks, but it doesn't suck that you had a baby. Congratulations. And I'm sorry your character wasn't written well. Speaking of characters not being written well, we have Bonzo. Because he can't talk, like, he doesn't talk. He speaks zombie, and there are no subtitles. He just says, he makes funny noises, and that's about it. There's not much to say there. Then he's just around. He's like I think the thing is, like, he's really big, but at the end of the day, he's a softie, so good for him. There's not much. He doesn't have much going on. Oh, and then in the first movie, we have the Aces, which are like a trio of mean cheerleaders that conspire with Bucky. But it's just, they don't do much other than whatever Bucky wants the plot for them to need. The plot needs Bucky needing them to do, you know what I mean. And then in the second movie, the werewolves get introduced. The werewolves are the leader, the boy, and baby Ariel. Yes, that baby Ariel.
Are you trying to spell me right now?
And then they just continue to have those personalities in the third one and take up time from what could have been Eliza's lines, or the friend, Addison's friend. I don't remember. I didn't even write her down. I feel bad, but Addison's friend is probably the best side character out of all of them. What could have been more screen time for her, now werewolves are there and she doesn't get as much screen time. And then, and then the third one, the aliens come, which is Harry Styles, the girl, and the non-binary bisexual person, which, great representation. I see you, not a joke. Good job, Disney, for having that kind of representation. But then it just gets so cluttered when you have all these different people in Zombies 3 just trying to do something, and nothing can really get done, because at the end of the day, the story is about Zed and Addison, and it gets really messy. Woo! So at the end of the day, Zombies introduces a lot of very shallow characters that don't end up doing much to the plot or helping out our main two characters. So, sorry Zombies, you're in last place here. Next ensemble in third place is Teen Beach Movie. Now, I see that, yes, technically Tanner and Layla are part of the ensemble, since they are not the main romantic duo. And those are some pretty strong characters, Tanner and Layla. Especially Layla in the second movie. She gets a lot to do. It's all really about Layla's self-actualization. But then Tanner's is kind of pushed to the side. And, like, he doesn't do... it's like, haha, he's dumb, he's stupid, like... Golden Retriever boy, he'll never be nothing more because he doesn't want to be anything more, which is fine, I guess. And Layla has a great character, but everyone else falls short, that she's really carrying the weight of the ensemble here. And other people in the ensemble, there's yeah, every other character in the ensemble is basically a one-off joke. Like the tall hair girl, she has tall hair. Whoa, the girl who shakes her bikini, isn't that funny? And the guy with the funny accent who's afraid of water for like no reason. That's basically it. Layla carries, but not hard enough. Sorry, Layla. Teen Beach, third place. In second place for ensemble is High School Musical. Again, a lot of the similar issues are shared between all these franchises, that the ensemble characters are very surface level, one-noted, they have one gimmick, and that's all they do. The best characters in the ensemble, though, are Chad, who gets the most screen time out of the ensemble. He, that's genuinely has his own character, and you know who he is. He's best friend of Troy, who kind of wants Troy to be the best version of himself, but then he gets a little selfish, and High School Musical 3, and it's a whole thing, and Chad is a good character. Other good characters, Ryan. I think Ryan is probably my favorite character from the High School Musical franchise. He really goes through a whole arc in High School Musical 2, which is amazing. How he realizes Sharpay treats him poorly, and then he has to do his own thing, and then he becomes he's great character. And then there's Kelsey, who I also think is great, just because she's just pure. She's there, she does her thing, she never really changes at all. Maybe at a few points she learns to speak up for herself, but that's about it. But I like Kelsey because Kelsey's cool, I guess. But other than Chad, Ryan, and kind of Kelsey, those are the best characters. And then everyone else, there's the dancing nerd and the baking jock. Those two people are in the background of every scene, and that's about it. So those Chad and Ryan, very strong characters. Kelsey, pretty strong. And then everyone else is like, eh. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention Tracy, who they kind of try and make a main character by putting her on the poster of High School Musical 3, but she does not deserve to be there. She's not a well-rounded character like Chad. She's just basically only there when the script needs her to be there, and acts as someone for Gabriella to talk to whenever she can't talk to Troy because she's in a fight with Troy. And so it's a pretty weak character and perpetuating the, black best friend trope. So not really the best. Sorry, High School Musical, only second place. Not bad though. I almost wrote a 2. That's a 3. And of course, that makes Descendants the best ensemble cast, purely because, well, Ben isn't really a main character, but he's still in the main romantic duo, so we can't count him, making Evie, Carlos, and Jay all ensemble characters in my mind. And those 3 characters are great. Like, you can genuinely tell that those 3 plus Mal are a great quartet. Would you call them that? They're a great group. You can tell that they're great friends. I especially love the moment in Descendants 2 when Carlos basically calls Evie and Mal out, like, hey, you guys always run off, do your girl talks, but we're your friends too. We all need to share what's going on with each other. We all need to be here for each other and support each other emotionally. Let's just sit down on the grass right here, right now, and get our emotions out. That's awesome. And that's when you can really tell that, yeah, these 4 are a unit. And it's great, even though just Evie, Carlos, and Jay, all their arcs really just turn into, I like this other person from the school and I'm going to try and date them now, or I'm trying to kiss him now, I'm going to get my own song about kissing him. And yeah, but they also learn other things, like in the first movie, like teamwork, and Carlos gets over his fear of dogs, and they really try and put in the time and effort to flesh out the other 3 characters besides Mal, and I really appreciate that. And then besides those 3, you get the side villains, which are like Harry and the other one, Gaston, who's the son of Gaston. He's there too. They're fine. And then, yeah, there's the Oridon kids like Audrey, and not Audrey. Audrey's the villain. the fairy godmother's daughter, her whatever her name is, which I am forgetting. All those kids are fine too, but mainly it's just Carlos, Jay, and Evie really carry and put Descendants in first place.
It's a song.
Time for the most controversial category, the songs. And I thought about many ways on how to do this, like maybe go by Spotify streams or something, but I didn't end up going with that because that would really put Zombies at a disadvantage, as Zombies 3 really just came out and has had barely enough time to accumulate streams on Spotify. And also the entire Zombies franchise as a whole is newer than everything else, and so it does not have as much time to get streams. And also Spotify is used by older people, like people who are nostalgic for specific things that play them disproportionately to kids who are not on Spotify, who might like some other things more. And so Spotify is not the best way to judge this. So I'm just going to use my own personal opinion, like I have been doing this whole video. Now let's break down how exactly this is going to work, because I can't just count how many good songs are in each movie, because each movie has a different amount of songs. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to count how many bops there are in each soundtrack for all the movies, and I will take the number of bops in the franchise and divide it by the total number of songs in that franchise, and that will give us a percentage of how many bops there are in the entire franchise. Some rules to remember is that reprises count as their own individual songs. I was debating on this, but at the end of the day, some reprises are better than the original song, some reprises are worse than the original song, some reprises are like changed to a different rhythm or whatever, where they're a completely different song. So it really, reprises count as their own individual songs. The other thing, I am not counting any of the pop songs that are on the soundtrack, like songs that are played in the background or songs that are played during credits. I'm only counting specific musical songs that the characters sing in the movie as their characters. Pretty self-explanatory. I'm only counting those songs when using the big division number at the end. Okay? Let's get into it. In last place, I don't think anyone's really shocked by this. Zombies. I'm sorry, last place yet again, but it's just, maybe it's me that my own personal taste isn't too hip-hop that much, but really, their songs in all the movies are very on the nose. There's no subtlety at all. All the characters specifically sing what they are thinking in that moment, and it makes it kind of not fun to listen to on repeat just in every day, since they're singing about a very specific situation. So I'm going to go through the songs that I do like, though. In the first movie, Someday, I was talking about how Zed and Allison have an amazing meet cute song. Someday is awesome. It has great choreography. Hey, we'll get to that later. And it's a very good song. It is such a good song that they're smart enough to play it 4 times throughout the entire franchise. So this will not be the last you hear of this song. Because the next song in the first movie that is good is Someday Ballad version. It's the same song, but it's a ballad. And those are my favorite songs from the first Zombies movie. Moving on to Zombies 2. We Own the Night. I know it's like cringy, it's used for a funny TikTok trend, make fun of furries, haha, but it gets catchy after a while, and no pun intended, but I'm going to throw Zombies to a bone here and give them this song. It's silly, it's fun, and hey, it sparked a TikTok trend, so it's good. And that's not the measurement of if a song is good or not, if there's a TikTok trend around it. You know what I mean. And then also in Zombies 2, we have Someday Reprise. There's Someday again for the 3rd time, so good job, Zombies. In Zombies 3, I think maybe my favorite song of the Zombies franchise is Ain't No Doubt About It. It's the most not on the nose song out of all of them, and I still think it's pretty on the nose. It's about how Zed and Allison are worried about breaking up after they graduate high school, but they pretend to put on a smile and sing about how everything's going to be fine. And I think it's very funny. It has very funny imagery and the background for choreography. Get to that later. And it's funny because it's like those are the couples, like we all know those couples from high school that are like, oh, we're gonna date into college, and then they're so happy and excited about it and it doesn't work out, and we all know people like that. And the song is funny, it's very upbeat, it's very catchy, and I like that song. Next song I liked in Zombies 3 was Exceptional Zed. I think in Zombies 3 specifically, really it just came out, so none of these songs have like that context of like growing on you, or like you listen to it back all these years later. I'm just kind of guessing what I will like in the future, and I think Exceptional Zed is one of those songs. It's very catchy, it's very fun. Say what you want about the songs from Zombies, they are catchy, they get stuck in your head so many times, and I think it's a fun message about Zed kind of hyping himself up, even though he kind of cheated to get into that interview for college anyway. But hey, it's a fun song. And then of course the last song I liked from Zombies 3 was Someday, because they sang that song again, but it's more emotional this time because it's like the whole cast singing about how they're gonna miss Addison and Zed processing the breakup, and it's very sweet, very emotional. That's the 4th time they sing Someday, and they nail it every time. So if you're counting, that is a total of 7 songs from the Zombies franchise I liked out of the total 25 songs they have in the Zombies franchise. This leads to a 28% bop rate, putting it in last place. In 3rd place for songs, we have Descendants. Let's break down the songs that I like. Starting off with Descendants 1, there's Rotten to the Core. It's a great introduction song. It's fun. It introduces you to all the characters. It does what it needs to do, and it's fun. Next song from the first Descendants is Evil Like Me. I already talked about how much I liked Kristen Chenoweth's version of Maleficent. I think it's a great villain song, and it really, yeah, Kristen Chenoweth can do no wrong. And the last song I really liked from the Descendants movies is, did I mention, yes, even though Ben is drugged during that song, it is still a bop. For Descendants 2, we have What's My Name. I'm not the biggest fan of this song, but I will say the kids really like it. I was a camp counselor for a few years, and I got to jam out to some Descendants songs with some kids at the camp, and the kids really like that song. Kids really like Descendants in general, and it did become a really popular song amongst kids, so kids like it, and it's good enough for me to include on this list. Next song is Chillin' Like a Villain. I think it's great to see Ben hanging out with someone other than Mal and the relationship he has with the other 3 Descendants kids, and this song really like extends their relationship and teaches them, hey, you should not be a nice person if you want to fit into the Isle of the Lost, and it's a great moment in the movie. Last song for Descendants 2 that I liked is It's Going Down. Classic rap battle between Dove Cameron and China Anne McClain. It's fun, it's catchy, it's over the top, and I like it. And for Descendants 3, I only had one song that I really liked out of the whole movie. I'm sorry if you're a fan of Descendants 3, but the only song I really liked is Do What You Gotta Do, sung by Mal and her dad Hades. Spoilers, oops. But it's a fun song about how being an absent father makes your child stronger, and how he shouldn't apologize. It's a fun concept. It's like a fun little rock song, and I like it. In total, I liked 7 songs from the Descendants franchise out of the total 20 songs in the Descendants franchise, which gives them a 35% bop rate, coming in 3rd place. In 2nd place, we have High School Musical. I know what you're thinking. Calm down. This may not be what you expect, okay? Let's get into it, and we'll see how things shake out. Starting with High School Musical 1. What I've been looking for, both times. Yes, when Ryan and Sharpay sing it, and when Troy and Gabriella sing it. I think it's a great song either way. A very fun, faster pop version or more slow ballad. Both iterations are great, and I like it as the audition song. The classic, of course, this is where nostalgia kicks in also for the song category, but Stick to the Status Quo. It's classic, it's funny, over the top, and very catchy. Speaking of catchy, bop to the top, oh my gosh, it's literally has bop in the name. Literally any song sung by Sharpay and Ryan can literally do no wrong. They're my favorite, it's the best, and it's an awesome song. Of course, another iconic, Breaking Free. That's the callback song Troy and Gabriella sing. I don't know why the cap is off of this. And it's very catchy, very fun. People like to, it's a great karaoke song, put it that way. And then, of course, the iconic We're All in This Together. And it didn't become iconic for nothing. It has to be a good song. I know what you're thinking. You left to Get Your Head in the Game out. Yeah, I didn't really like Get Your Head in the Game. I'm sorry. It's too many basketballs bouncing around for me. High School Musical 2. What Time Is It? Classic intro song. Summer. So you like it's classic to have that song going in your head when you're sitting there any year in middle school or high school and it's the last day of school. You have that song stuck in your head. Fabulous. Best villain song. Fabulous. There's nothing I can say about this that hasn't already been said. It's an amazing. Ashley Tisdale, Marry Me. Next song, Work This Out. Great song. It's fun. I'm saying the same thing about every song here. So Work This Out. Great job. I Don't Dance. Very queer coded. I like it. I like what you're doing to me. Gotta Go My Own Way. Iconic breakup song. The best breakup song? No. But iconic nonetheless. And then, of course, speaking of iconic, we have Bet On It. I think it loses in one of these categories, but in this category, it's a winner. And then in High School Musical 3, they kind of dropped the ball for the songs for me. They're all a little too long for me, and they kind of sorry. But then again, I literally just watched High School Musical 3 for the first time a few days ago, so maybe I still need a little bit of time for these songs to sit with me, but here's what I have for High School Musical 3. I Want It All. Again, any song sung by Sharpay and Ryan is going to be on this list. 2, High School Musical. It's a great sort of ending song. They bring the title into it, and it's emotional because, hey, look at what all of these characters have been through. I did not put the prom song on there. The prom song from TikTok, not on there. Sorry, not for me, I guess. I counted 14 total bops from High School Musical, and out of their 31 songs in the High School Musical franchise, which is a 45% bop rate, which is awesome. Then we have Teen Beach Movie. Teen Beach Movie never misses, really. Okay, they have a few misses, but Teen Beach Movie, especially the first one, hits so hard with all of their songs. Starting off with Surf Crazy, great intro number. It's very catchy, great summer song. Cruisin' for a Bruisin', maybe more iconic than some of the High School Musical songs and pop culture history. I cannot say enough good things about that song. Fallin' For Ya, great love song and so many things. It's great. Meant to Be, even better love song. Can't Stop Singing. These songs just keep getting better and better. Meant to Be reprised too. The song between Mac and Brady. It's only 30 seconds, but it's more than Mal and Ben had. I did not count Meant to Be reprised 1 because it's mostly La La La's. And so but I'd listen to this Meant to Be reprised 2 any time of the day. Teen Beach 2, we have Best Summer Ever. I think it's a great song because it incorporates the song titles from the first movie in a very cute and fun way. On My Own, Best Breakup Song. We've been over this. Next, Fallin' For Ya. I know it's a hot take, but I think I like Fallin' For Ya from the second movie better than I like Fallin' For Ya from the first movie. I won't explain any further. Silver Screen. Amazing song about movies, and it's fun, and it's clever lyrics, and I like it. So, Teen Beach Movie has 10 bops out of a total 22 songs, which makes it a 45% bop rate. Ladies and gentlemen, I think we have a tie going on here, with High School Musical and Teen Beach Movie both having a 45% bop rate. See, I told you not to get mad at me when I put High School Musical in second, because it turns out they're both in first, so I will give them both 4 points.
What's this choreography?
This brings us to our last and most subjective category, the dancing, because I really don't know anything about dance. I don't know anything about choreography. All I can go off of is what I'm seeing and if I like it or not. And I'm sure there are so many ways to rearrange these 4 movies, and maybe someone who's more knowledgeable in dance can do that for me. But for now, this is my opinion and what I'm liking. So here we go. Let's start this. In last place, I'm going to have to put High School Musical, which sucks because High School Musical 3, I think, has the best choreography out of all 11 movies. But High School Musical 1 and 2 have the worst choreography in all 11 movies, because you can't have this without also having this, which makes High School Musical as a franchise really hard to judge on its choreography in total. But because 1 and 2 kind of fell flat, I'm going to have to put it at the bottom. There we go. In third place, I have Descendants. Again, this is more just a matter of I like the other 2 better than this one, just making it third place by default. It doesn't really do anything wrong, especially nothing as wrong as High School Musical does. So it's just pretty average. It's good dancing. Again, I can never do what any of these people are doing, so it doesn't mean that they suck or like they're bad. It's just it's the other ones are better, and they do kind of have that kind of cringy dance off in Descendants 3 where Mal puts a spell on the knights to bust a move. Gonna have to go third place. Second place, I feel so bad because this was Zombies' category to win. They specifically wrote the entire trilogy around cheerleading and dancing and doing fun moves, but they were just doing too much, to be honest, and that's what puts them only in second place. They were doing too much. It's very maximalist, very in your face, and at the end of the day, you have to ask, is there a point to this dancing? Like, I get it, like, you can jump on your back and then get back up again. You don't need to do it 5 million times. It's a cool dance move. I can't do it, but what's the point other than just kind of looking cool the first time you do it? And yeah, it's very, very maximalist, in your face. Just look at how many flips I can do, basically. And yeah, I feel so bad. But at the same time, they don't really use it too effectively. Again, maybe this is my own personal bias, as I prefer more traditional musical theater dancing to hip-hop dancing, so that can certainly be the case. And I still think Someday has some of the best choreography out of all 11 movies. Sorry, Zombies, this was really yours to win, but second place ain't bad. That makes Teen Beach Movie in first place. Like I said, I really prefer more traditional musical theater dancing, and this has all of it. It's super fun. It's amazing. They even tap dance for a little bit during Can't Stop Singing. Their choreography is great in that song. Cruisin' for a Bruisin' has some of the best choreography out of all 11 movies, because I feel like, unlike Zombies, Cruisin' for a Bruisin' is a dance that you can learn at home, and it became like a TikTok thing too, of like doing the dance, because it's easy to learn, but it's not so easy that it feels like High School Musical levels of just kind of jumping around. There's some skill to it, and they use fun chairs and props, and I think some choreography sometimes elevates the story of the song, like Twist Your Frown Upside Down, which is a song I don't like, but that choreography is fun because the people make a little frown and then they make it so it's a smile, and that elevates the song in a fun way, and it's a meaningful way, unlike just doing backflips like they do in Zombies. It feels like all the choreography is meaningful, and they use fun props. Like in Surf Crazy, they have the surfboards, they have the beach balls. It's so fun, and everything they do is amazing. And for that reason, Teen Beach Movie wins the dance category. And I know some of you right now are just pausing to total up the numbers, and I will also be doing the same.
Oh, it's over.
All right. Time for the big reveal. I put post-its on the total numbers to be mysterious. So in last place, I don't think to anyone's surprise, is Zombies with a total of 11 points. Just because it came in last place doesn't mean you shouldn't watch these movies. I think they're still fun to a certain level. Of Bucky, especially Bucky. Please watch it for Bucky. Zed and Allison's relationship is very cute. Some songs are catchy, like they'll definitely get in your head even if you don't like them. And I think it's just a fun little time, and not to look into too critically about the race metaphor. Anyway, in third place we have Descendants with 14 points. Again, they're good movies. I like them. I enjoy them. I like the main central 4 cast members of the Descendants. But when you're competing against these two beasts of franchises, you're not gonna win. Speaking of those two beasts of franchises, ladies and gentlemen, we have a tie with High School Musical and Teen Beach Movie, both with 18 points. Could I break this tie by choosing one more song from either movie that I like more to up their bop percentages, giving them the win in the song category? Yes. But I'm not going to do that, because I think it's a beautiful ending when we have a tie between two amazing franchises. I personally think, like I said, High School Musical 2 is the best movie out of all 11, but I think Teen Beach Movie is my personal favorite out of these 4 franchises. And the first Teen Beach Movie is probably my personal favorite out of all 11. And so, do you agree with this? Am I stupid? Did I leave out all your favorite songs for the song category? Is Bet on It the best choreography you've ever seen, and it should be in first place? Let me know. Maybe I will do a video about Camp Rock versus Lemonade Mouth. But we all know who will win that, so there's no point. Thank you and goodbye.